Hey, everybody. What are we doing? It's Saturday night. Feels kind of good, actually. Saturday night live. Saturday night's all right for fighting, all that good stuff. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Mike, isn't it Sunday morning where you are? Should
It
we
is
be in church
actually,
right now?
not only is it Sunday morning, it's June.
Oh, wow. You're a month ahead of us.
Welcome.
The future.
Welcome
Future
to
man.
All right,
So-
let's see if anyone got the memo about the date change. I could see a blue dot. Someone's here.
Hey, Grant's up there.
Hey, just in time, enough time to make a cup of coffee. That's a good idea, mate. That's a good idea. Get yourself a cup of coffee, whatever you want to drink.
Yeah, it's late here in New Brunswick.
There you go. Hey, we're here. Saturday night. Dan's back. It's like a classic panel tonight. Old school.
Hell yeah.
Old school show.
Thanks for having us back, man. It's good to be here.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a good
Good to
time.
spend Saturday night with some friends. Yep.
What could be better than that, eh? What could be better than that? Anyone having a wee drink this evening? Seeing as it's Saturday? Dan, for example.
Yeah. Deep Eddy vodka, lime vodka, and some press cold, locally sourced cherry limeade juice.
Oh, wow.
Nice, refreshing summer drink.
Classy juice. Is the vodka kind of classy? Or is it the juice that's making it?
No, I mean, yeah, it kind of is. It's a spot out of Austin. It's real popular here in Texas,
Nice.
but it's like really good. You can kind of see it's not just clear, like artificial flavoring. It's kind of got like this murky lime look to it. But it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Definitely worth
It's not like
checking out.
Slimer green.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get
Well,
going?
I'm also drinking something green. I'm drinking green tea. So
Nice. That's very green. Oh, that's the color of the thing. That's not the actual tea, right?
the tea's green too. Yeah.
Hey,
Green tea
Jay.
and green mug. Yeah.
Hey, let's just do the old this thing. Like and subscribe. Help us
Like
out.
and subscribe.
As per usual. Help us out. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Let's get back into the chat. Oi! Nightfall sucks.
Oh, I see Jay Collins is here. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us, Jay. Do you
Hey,
have a fest you're supposed to be
gotta,
planning for next weekend?
Jay's got to come on sometime. Last
Oh,
time
be careful what you wish for, Mike.
we had some tech problems last time that we couldn't figure out. So hopefully Jay will be able to come on at some point again.
Was the tech problem he couldn't stop talking?
Well, we didn't find out. He couldn't get on. Couldn't get in. All right, let's get going. Regular viewers know what we're going to do. We've each got 5 records, or maybe a couple more. We'll see how it goes. That we're going to have a great time nerding out about. It's going to be a good time. Make yourselves known in the comments. Help us out. And all that good stuff. And let's do it. Let's do this. Set yourself down. It's going to be a great, fun 2 hours on a Saturday night. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Yeah, very excited to see what y'all have picked tonight.
Me too. I did a little bit of a change up actually this morning, but nothing too major. But so my first pick is something pretty new. It came out a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, out of Madrid, Spain. It's one of those records that like 8 different labels helped put out, which is always cool. Here in Japan, Vox Populi did their part in putting this record out. Schizophrenia, You from Schizophrenia's label.
Nice.
And in the States, a good friend, Daniel Zambrano, helped put this out in the States, so it's going to be easy to get. What am I talking about? Let's have a look. I'm talking about this record, Zero, Azúcar.
Oh, nice.
Zero sugar, right? That's what it means, I believe. What are we looking at? Well, 3-piece band, Madrid, Spain. One of these guys, let's do a name check on this guy because he's a big part of this band. Pablo Martinez from Accidente and Antidoto is a big part of this band. Plays guitar, sings, and I'm still not sure if this is a drum machine or real drums. I can't think. It might even be both. whatever it is, sounds great. It's kind of real driving. Man, this is like such a driving, like uplifting record. It's a summertime record. It's punk. It's pop, but it isn't pop punk. You know what I mean? Lots of keyboards. I think it's like the Korg Electribe, if any musicians know what that is. I have no idea, but it makes a lot of like real nice synth tones and synth sounds. It's either a drum machine or a drum kit, but it's like driving forward with like loads of energy. Killer guitar work, like kind of like jagged guitar work, but really it's like the melodies, the vocal melodies, the catchy tunes. It's crazy. Like Dan was saying, like it kind of reminds me of like when he was back in Colombia.
Oh, cool.
He'd be listening to the radio and just like pop music would come on, right?
Yeah.
And like that's what it's like. And I don't know much about Spanish pop music or Colombian pop music or whatever, but I get it. I know exactly what he means because I've definitely heard these kind of songs before, like Spanish pop music and just like the way they sing and the melodies and stuff. It's different, right, from like American or UK or whatever pops. It's pretty cool. There's even like a ballad on here, which I wasn't expecting, but it works, so it's beautiful. I think the lyrics are quite dark to that song. The Bandcamp kind of says, it references the Wipers and the Cure. I don't really hear that at all. And Sonic Avenue, so I'm not familiar with. I don't know who Sonic Avenue is, but I think they're like a power pop band. And this band called Natë Pop. Have you heard of them?
No, not familiar.
I mean, I hadn't either. I had to look it up. So
Yeah.
Natë Pop is like an 80s like Spanish pop rock band. So now it all makes sense. Okay, so it's like, these punks who have taken a taste of like 80s like Spanish pop music. But this band, Natë Pop, they supported like the Ramones and Susie and the Banshees like back in the day.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't listened to that band yet. I'm excited to kind of go back and check out what that band sounds like. But to me, like not necessarily, it doesn't really sound like these bands, but I get the same feelings as like Tikeri and Queer, from France. Just an upbeat, joyous, poppy, punk, like uplifting, like record with like tons and tons of like great tunes on it. So check it out. If you like Accidente, but it doesn't even sound like Accidente. It's funny because Accidente are way more pop punk than this band.
Oh,
It's just totally different sound.
is it similar to like Rata Negra or stuff like that?
Not even like kind of. It's more similar to that, I would say, than Accidente. I was actually kind of gonna say Fuera de Sector.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like
They had that big hit record that came out this year, right?
but like a real like sunny, like beach like version of that, because Fuera de Sector is kind of like sleazy nightclub to me. But this is like
there's no darkness.
This is like summer. This is like summer like pop record.
So you listen to this while you're on the beach drinking your lime Kool-Aid, and then you go to the nightclub. Okay.
It's killer, man. It's like every song's like a hit, it's funny. I had a song stuck in my head like last week, and I was like, God damn it, what's that song? And I came home, put this record on, and of course it was like the first song from this record. And of course I don't speak Spanish, but I was kind of singing along with it, in my head at work and stuff. So if you're interested, hit up Daniel. He's still got
Will do, man.
Absolute Contempt records. Great record.
Yeah, sounds right up my alley. Glad to hear we'll have good U.S. distribution.
Yes.
Are the drum sounds on that like kind of like Escorbuto or Cloaca Letal, where it's kind of like you can't tell if it's like kind of drum machine?
Yeah,
real kind of pummeling, but electronic sounding.
Yeah, I don't want to call it. I don't want to say definitely which it is because I don't know.
But that's cool though, man. That's like something I've noticed in the music, and I was like, where is that nowadays? So definitely want to check that out.
It feels like it's so precise that it could be a drum machine, but who knows?
Or electronic drum kit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. He has a lot of credits. This guy.
Oh, that's cool.
On the it's like sequencing and vocals and this, that, and the other, and so he's a producer too. This guy Pablo from Accidente, he does a lot of producing stuff. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. But that's my first pick. brand new out of Madrid, Spain. Ready for summer 2025.
Yeah, since you're already in June over there, you're ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deep in with the summer tunes.
He's in the solstice.
I am.
Yeah, it's still like 50 degrees and rainy over here right now. So
it was actually beautiful here this week.
Oh, nice.
It was, well, I mean, 25, 30 degrees, I guess for you guys, that's like, 80, 85, something like that. I got sunburnt. Like I was outside doing all sorts of yard work and I was on vacation. So yeah, it's really nice for our end of the country.
Oh, yeah. All right, Dan, what's your first pick? What's your man?
All right. So my first pick, I just got in the fucking mail today. Like this morning, I got a package from Tom from General Speech. Nice. One of the records I got was Ultimate Disaster. That's like a fucking smoking ass record. So had to pick that one up. And this record was that I'm talking about tonight. Fuck yeah, is a record. I think this is the first music that this band has released in 6 years. But a band out of Philly, fucking lovers. This
nice
7-inch Crucifixion of the Masses. Really slick design by GS. I love this. The artwork is really cool too. What they put on it, it's like the typical confused guy.
It reminds me of like that Swanky's 7-inch. I forget.
Exactly, Swanky's. It's got the Sid Vicious with the Bud Dwyer collage work there, and the cartoon drawing and shit. So, yeah, this I mean, it's pretty evident what this is going to be. It's got the Swanky's guy, confused, and the cool thing about this coming out on General Speech is fucking Lovers and General Speech are both confused songs. So that's kind of interesting that they paired this one.
That's true.
But it makes sense. It's got a cool little sticker on the sleeve too. It says all guitar passages on this EP are distorted. This type of distortion is a trademark of the band. It is the way the music was intended to be heard. The distortion is not the fault of your stereo system or this original master recording. So it's fucking noisy. It's real cool. Yeah. It's a 5-song banger. It's really cool. I really like it because obviously anything that's going to be like Chaos UK or Disorder, Japanese hardcore influence in that realm, I'm going to fucking love it. And right now there's a lot of bands doing this kind of shit. So like you've got bands like Condom, you got Enzyme, and then you've got older bands like Frenzy and Lebit and Toten that all are somewhat influenced from that. And the cool thing is that they all kind of bring their flavor to it, and this is just another one of those bands that really hits a good mark on it. So I highly recommend it. Just came in, just released, and I've been like listening to it nonstop on Bandcamp. So I'm glad to have the GS version of it that's green, and it's going to be on my fucking record table for the next couple weeks.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great band. They're from here in Philly, where I'm from. Ooh. Good friends of mine.
Yeah.
A bunch. Actually, I think the last release that came out 6 years ago was the tape I put out for them on my label. So
nice.
I was really excited to see them putting out some new music again. But yeah, they're a great band. A lot of fun live. A lot of great energy. That sticker is very appropriate. Super noisy guitar tone. Like definitely one of those like very bass-driven bands, and then the guitar just sounds like a dentist drill, but in all the right ways. And yeah, actually, I just ordered my copy from Dan last night, or from General Speech. I ordered it from last night, so hopefully I'll have that soon. I'm just gonna go pick it up from him in West Philly next week. So,
what's the vocal attack like on it? Is it like?
I think that's what I like about it the most. It's almost kind of like a real noisy, kind of like almost like a UK approach to it, rather than the real snotty sounding. And I love that. That's really cool. It's not just like a rehash of just noisy, unaudible, screaming and shit. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, for noise punk, definitely well written songs, well performed. Tight band. They play. I think they're on tour in Europe right now. In fact.
Yeah. Didn't Discos and Infermos put co-releases, I believe, for that tour? I think so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I wish they would. I mean, I hope they tour the States too, because I'd love to see them in Texas. I think that would be perfect for them.
For sure, yeah. And I think Tom said that. Tom said he was down to like his last 10 copies of that already too. So seems like it's a fast mover.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if you're watching this, you want a copy, you should
hurry up.
Get it while it's hot.
Absolutely.
Get a little timer on the screen. Down to 9 copies now. 8 copies. like
Yeah, shout out to Tom for getting this over so quick because I ordered it this week and it came in today. So like,
Yeah.
you know, and shout out to him and shout out to my fiance for pulling out of the fucking Texas sun that it was sitting in because she was on the way to work and I was still in bed. And she was like, "Oh, your record thingy came in," and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
Yeah, sat out there too long. You would have definitely had some distortion that was not intended by
Yeah.
the artist.
It would have been.
See the needle going like this on the grid.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Cool. Beautiful. All right, Steve. What's your first pick?
All right. So for my first pick, I picked a band that I was surprised has actually never been featured on the show before.
Ooh.
120 episodes. We never talked about this band, and they're actually a pretty popular band. Like, I would say they're maybe one of the biggest bands in the history of rock music, right up there with like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. So I think it's about time that someone talked about this band, and that band is Pink Floyd.
Wow, really? No, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. According to the master list, unless someone snuck it in somewhere.
I have thought about it a couple of times actually.
I know. I've been listening to a lot of Pink Floyd lately. They're actually one of my my favorite bands since I was growing up. My dad got me into them. I remember like going through his records when I was like 12 and just having a blast with them. So, Pink Floyd's really well known for like Dark Side of the Moon. I think it was like one of the longest records that was like on the top selling 40 or whatever for like 15 years. It was The Wall, Animals, all great records. But I want to focus on something that's like a little bit deeper in the catalog and a little less known. This is More. It's a motion picture soundtrack. It was their third LP. And part of the reason I want to talk about this is it kind of represents like an interesting transition in the band. Like anyone who's a fan of Pink Floyd knows that Syd Barrett was the driving force on the first record. And then halfway through the writing of the second record, like his mental problems just started to become a little bit too much. He stopped showing up to gigs and they had to replace him with David Gilmour. So on their second record, it was kind of like half Syd Barrett, half David Gilmour, and the band kind of refinding their legs. And then this is the very first record that they did with like no Syd Barrett influence at all. Right. This is just the band, trying to kind of find their new sound now that the guy was writing and singing everything was gone. So David Gilmour actually does all the vocals on this record, which I didn't realize at first, but then I was like actually reading the notes, getting ready for this, and I was like, oh, like, and like it's like half the songs with vocals and half instrumentals. But yeah, like he does all the vocals on it, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's like this record came out in 1969. And it does kind of very nicely set up like the next decade of the band's career because like you see them kind of like learning this new way to like work together, kind of get away from that more psychedelic pop and like kind of giving themselves more space to just kind of experiment and get creative with stuff. And another reason I really wanted to talk about this record, since this is mostly a punk show first and foremost. There's a song on here called the Nile Song, which in my opinion is like maybe one of the very first like proto-punk songs ever. It's like, David Gilmour's voice is usually kind of like smooth and velvety, but on this one, he's got almost like a growl going on. And it's got this like really kind of aggressive riff. It's almost kind of
it's almost like kind of a Blue Cheer kind of feel to it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Don't Voivod cover that?
Yes.
Oh, they might. Yeah, I know they do a couple Pink Floyd. I think they also do like Interstellar Overdrive or something, right?
Astronomy Dominate too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's like a fun record. They did a couple other soundtrack albums after this too, like "Obscured by Clouds" is another one that I'm a big fan of.
Zabriskie Point is another one, right?
Yeah, Zabriskie Point. Yeah, they had a lot of tracks on that. But yeah, this was like the first like dedicated soundtrack album that they put out. So I thought that was very interesting too. Like, and I think they had done some film scoring before this. But yeah, they're kind of like the perfect band for like a film score too, because they're always like experimenting like those like weird background noises, like background conversations, like door slamming, footsteps. Like there's one record where there's a guy cooking breakfast in the background for like a whole song. Like so in this one, like when they get into some of the more like mood pieces for the movie, like they do a really good job of like kind of hitting that atmosphere. But yeah, in case my parents are watching, I wanted to start with at least one record that you guys would know. So thanks, Dad, for letting me raid your Pink Floyd record collection when I was a little kid. Getting my grubby little fingers all over them. Now a 43-year-old man who still likes them. So now we can finally say that Pink Floyd's been covered on the show. So.
I mean, I still like him as much now as I did when I was like 12, 13 years old. Like and it's funny because like I knew you were going to mention the Nile Song because like back then, in our minds it kind of cemented them as being like, oh, this band is really kind of a heavy metal band, but they just do a lot of mellow songs. So we would always like put them in with like Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. They were our big four like heavy bands. Pink Floyd is not that much of a heavy band, but like we just always put those four together. They were the big four of late 70s when we were teenagers. And
oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, because Pink Floyd and Black Sabbath were probably like the first two bands that like got me into music. So,
well, the first two LPs, if I remember, that I ever bought with my own like pocket money, was Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, and Pink Floyd, Relics.
Oh, nice.
When I was like 12 years old. So.
Yeah, Relics, which also features the Nile song. So
yes, exactly.
You can't find a copy of more.
We didn't know about more. We were like just going with the Relics, right? So that's how we found out about the Nile.
Yeah, this is actually the one that took me longest to find on vinyl. Like, I just always grabbed them like throughout my life if I'd see them in like a used bin or somewhere. And I actually got this one right here in Philadelphia. Like it still has a sticker on it. It's from a Beautiful World Syndicate. Which is a great record store here. I think they're like literally one of the biggest sellers on Discogs in the whole world. Like they just get all sorts of music coming through that shop. Like everything from like Pink Floyd to jazz to heavy metal, hard rock, punk. I think actually some of the members of Fucking Lovers might even like work here too. So
there you go. There's the tie-in. That's a tie-in.
But one of them may have touched this record before I got my groovy hands on it.
I did show like the David Gilmour solo record from last year, which kind of
that's right. Okay, I do remember.
Like went over most people's heads, but I think it's great. But yeah, that's nice. And if you're going to kind of show a record, that's a kind of interesting pick for Pink Floyd, I would say.
Yeah, like I played it for a friend last week. I had it on, and she was like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's Pink Floyd." She's like, "Really? Like I thought I knew Pink Floyd. Like I got to dig a little deeper." I'm like, "Yeah, this is the record no one knows about." So.
Yeah.
I had a few I was considering from their catalog. I was like, I feel like if I'm going to talk about one record, I want to talk about this one, and I want to mention the Nile song. So if anyone doesn't know, if anyone thinks Pink Floyd's just for like a bunch of like psychedelic hippies, flower sniffing jerks, like listen to the Nile song, and then reconsider them.
Yeah, that's a cool pick. Nice, beautiful. Check out the Nile song. Heavy song.
Yeah, heavy before people knew what heavy was.
Yes. All right, Matt. What's your first pick?
So I, along with Steve, was very surprised when I checked the list and saw that this band had never actually been on the list.
There you go. Wow.
And now that's kind of arguable if you want to talk about it the same way you did, where you just said you put a David Gilmour record up, which isn't exactly Pink Floyd. No. Well, people have talked about this band, but not really talked about this band. So I'm doing Wolf Brigade, which
nice.
He has ever talked about. So
really?
This is Wolf Pack has been
there you go.
No Brigade titles. So Progression Regression, one of the few picture discs I still have in my collection.
I have that picture disc.
There is a real repress that's on black vinyl as of like a year or two ago. Yep. But I mean, I'm not going to trade up my original for some modern repress. I mean, why would I do something silly like that? But so this record was the new release when I discovered this band. My buddy Ray made me a mixtape. It had All Day Hell, Hellhound Warpig, Lycanthropunk, and this.
Nice.
And this is the one that really grabbed me. I liked the other stuff, but this thing just kicked my ass. I fell in love with this record right out of the gate. Probably the second, Scandinavian crustcore band I'd ever heard. I had heard Accursed somehow or another before this. But
right around that same time era, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. I was doing co-op ed in high school in a used music store. So, we saw some cool stuff come through the door once in a while, and that's how I heard the Accursed. But I got this on a mixtape, and it just blew my mind as a 15 or 16-year-old kid. I didn't know music sounded like this. I'd been into thrash and speed and punk and hardcore and that kind of stuff, but I'd never heard like this, Swedish crustcore D beat. Absolutely, totally changed my way of thinking about what punk could sound like. Because if you put this on to some metalhead, he'd love it.
Yeah,
but this ain't metal.
Right.
This is hardcore. This is crust. This is DB. This is amazing, and I'd never heard anything quite like that at the time as a young kid in Eastern Canada. We had a few crust bands out here, but nothing that sounded like this.
Yeah.
So first album with the change up of the name, new singer, kind of revamping the band a little bit, and I still would dare to say this is probably their peak for me.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that band was hugely influential on my old band AOS. We were eating up all that like Scandi-core stuff because it was very popular in Connecticut at the time. Nowhere else, but in Connecticut, yes. And yeah, I had the same experience. Like I was a metal kid who got into punk, and like the first time I heard like Wolfpack and then Wolf Brigade, I was like, "Oh, this is it. This is like that sweet spot."
Yeah.
It's funny because I loved like the Johnson, like the Wolfpack stuff, like so much, and it's not crusty really. I mean, it's metalish, it's metallic, but it sounds like late era, like anti-Cymex.
Yeah,
more
definitely.
right. So it took me a while to warm up to Wolf Brigade, but I do think for that particular like crustcore, they are like probably the kings. They write really good riffs, like as a lot of those kind of bands don't. So
they do that. They do that great guitar thing where they do this riff and then they use that pinky finger to get that tritone kind of note going on, that third note, and it just
gets me every time. Yeah,
steps up every like it's just
they've definitely got
Swedish death metal influence.
Yeah.
Man, I had the same reaction to that, Matt. And like when that came out, I got that on CD. I think I got that like well after it had come out. I bought it when I saw Victims play in a fucking taco shop in Dallas, and like I got out of the Havoc Records distro. It's the first thing I ever heard from the man. Fucking blew my mind, and like it did not leave my CD player for a very, very long time. But I had the same reaction to it. I was like, dude, this is it, man. This is some fucking some good shit.
Yeah, I think I still have all of that. There's like one of their records which is like really boring. I forget which one it is.
Yeah, they had a little bit of like a mid-career slump.
Yeah, right. That one is amazing, but like
there was one that came out there like I want to say maybe it was like 2 after this. It might have even just been a 12-inch EP that I thought, okay, this is the last record of theirs I'm going to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I ended up buying the rest, and I love them. But I remember there was one little hiccup in the middle there that just didn't quite grab me.
For me, it was their record "Damned."
That's it. I think that's it. That's the one.
I bought it and I was like, wow, this is like a snooze fest. Like, what the hell happened to this band? And I think I just like filed it away really quick. And then like 6 months later, I saw it in a distro and I bought it again because it was so unmemorable. I forgot I already owned it. I brought it home and I put it on, and just like the look of disappointment on my face when I realized it was the same fucking boring riffs I already. I was like, no, they tricked me. And like I said, they really like they got back on. You know, they found it again.
Yeah.
And speaking of the metal crossover, like their newest record's on Metal Blade Records. And like I was actually just listening to it in the car with my bandmate. Like we were driving back from practice. He had it on. I was like, man, the riffs on this record are like they're back. This is great. Like,
it's sick, man.
That kind of music, you know. Riffs are the riffs are key, you know.
So yeah, avoid Damned, but buy any of the other records. Good stuff. Learn from
I didn't want to say anything because you got on just got to do the mirror of the camera thing.
Oh, my backwards?
But it's fine. Just
you're so symmetrical, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, there you go.
Here, hold up that picture disc again so we can all see it the right way around.
Hold up the Wolf Brigade record again so we can have a good look at it.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
You know, didn't the repress have like some kind of like winged demon on it or something that didn't really represent the because like progression, regression, and the artwork that's on the original really represents like what that album is about more than it's a fucking demon drawing and shit. You know, it's not really, it doesn't really fit the motif of the record.
I thought the new one looked more like a High on Fire record or something than like a Wolf Brigade record.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Right. Speaking of metal, as we are, I got some metal for you. It's new too. Straight out of New York City. Oh man. So let's get down to it. So like 4 years ago, I don't know why I bought this record. I don't remember like how I kind of came across it. Maybe in the record store or just like the look of it. But I bought this record. It sort of melted my face off when I bought it. I liked it so much. I kind of went on the internet and made like a standalone video about it. Like a really badly done, like me just talking about one record, and I uploaded it on my YouTube channel, and like I ended up deleting it like a bit later because it kind of sucked. So the record I was talking about then was this one, the Tower, Shock to the System.
Great record.
You guys heard this record?
Oh. Yeah, I've seen them live. They're incredible. They back
it is phenomenal. This record is fucking. I could not believe how killer this record is. Like the vocalist. Sarah Beth has just like the best like such a powerful voice.
Very
and
powerful.
It's kind of got one foot in punk a little bit. It's kind of like it kind of takes you back to Detente and like Zoa and like street metal. You know, it's like real like. Okay, so I could not stop playing this record when it came out, and it's a classic in my opinion, like a modern day classic, 2021. And suddenly, just like Christian Mistress have a new LP out on the same label, Cruz del Sur Music, boom, Tower have a new record out too, and of course I had to go and buy it. Kind of different vibe. Got the Viper on the front.
Ooh, shiny.
You know, an old scripture. It's like I've got the snakeskin texture, it's black and gold. It's beautiful.
Hey man, is that snakeskin?
There we are. Let There Be Dark. And I was like so excited. Like I didn't run home. I mean, that would be an exaggeration, but I got home and I could not wait to put this on the turntable. Remember that feeling when you're a kid? You got a new record and you're like, same. 58 years old, could not wait to get home from work and like play this thing. And I put it on and like wasn't feeling it. Like I wasn't feeling it at first because they've changed things up. This is darker, it's more ethereal. Sarah Beth like uses more of a vocal range. So in the first two songs, she doesn't go 100%. She's like holding back a little bit. And it took me by surprise, you know, at first. I was like, man, where's those, you know, those amazing, like, fucking aggressive, like, vocals? They're not here. And, I kept listening. And, on the third song, those vocals return. But it's just like it's darker. The songs are a bit longer. It's, like, more mature, like, for want of a better word. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm not feeling this. It's one of the, but you got to sit with it for a bit, you know. And, like, 2 or 3, like, listens in. And I was like, oh, yeah. This is easily as good as this, but it's also like real different. It's there's like a couple of ballads on there. Like one of the kind of ballads is actually my favorite song on the record, but just don't quite expect like Shock to the System Part 2. You know, it's just classic heavy metal, new wave British heavy metal. They've got like the diamond head. I call them the different D beats, like the diamond head D beats. You know, like you know.
Yes, very good.
Arthur Rizek nailed the production. It's like super warm, really nice to listen to.
He did the record. That's cool. It's bound to sound good. Then
he really nailed it on this one.
Yeah, because he loves that genre too. So like, he just
knows what he's doing. And it surprised me because one of the things about that first record is that her voice is so powerful, and to hear it coming out like that out of the gate was kind of like a bit jarring at first, but once you get used to the slight change, it's just like it's like being a kid again. Like you get home like the new Judas Priest record, or it feels like that to me. It's like it's that good. It's like, man, I've just got, you know, it's 2025. I've got this new record, and I don't know. It's just a fucking amazing like heavy metal record out of New York City. It's gonna get lumped in with like the new wave of traditional heavy metal. This is also like a vegan record. There's like no cheese on this. You know, there's no cheese at all.
Not even a little.
Not even a little. Maybe a little bit. Maybe one, like a slither of Edam. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta pick that up because I was a huge fan of the first record. I saw him play live.
And keep harping on, but this is like, if you haven't heard this, do yourself a favor.
That one's got a lot of spins in my house. Yeah, so I definitely need to snag that new one for sure.
Prepare yourself. It's not quite the same, but it's still incredible, like heavy metal out of New York City. Amazing, incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm just interested to see where they go from here. You know?
Right.
Also, like slight punk connection with this band. I think the original drummer was in Subversive Right. Claire from Subversive Right was the original drummer.
Oh, okay.
Of this band.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Which kind of makes you like it even more. You know what I mean? It's like,
Oh, someone's asking about the Zone Trooper LP. I think that was featured last time I was on the show. That was
wasn't that was that a Hazel pick, maybe?
Yeah, that was a Hazel pick, yeah.
I haven't
good record.
I still haven't checked it out, to be honest with you.
I did. I liked it. It was good. It was really cool. The music video is fucking awesome too. Definitely check it out.
Portland band, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll see some people from Portland, like I think some couple of the Long Knife dudes are in that one. You know, some Portland heads are in that.
I saw it, guys. I watched the video, but I didn't check out the full length record yet.
Yeah, I think Hazel said one of the guys from Rigorous Institution was in the band too. So,
Oh, bonus quiz! If anyone can answer, I'll give you something. 10 points. Tower record. Where do you think I bought the Tower record?
at Tower Records.
Exactly.
I didn't know they still existed.
I was in such a good mood, and I was we had a bunch of Tower records in Osaka, right, and Tokyo, and in Japan. So I was trying to make the joke with the guy behind the counter, and he wasn't having it.
He's like, all right, buddy.
Like, look at the name of this record. It was all right.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's carry on.
We moved to Philly like 20 years ago. We had a Tower Records, but I haven't seen one in a long time over these ways.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool actually being able to we have like 3 or 4 just in Osaka, like, and one vinyl only Tower records.
Oh man,
which is where I got this Tower vinyl. Sorry, I'm showing the tissues, not the bag. I don't know why I'm showing the tissues. There you go. There you go. I've been waiting all week to tell that joke.
That's good. Good score.
There you go. All right.
You know, when you can go back and add a laugh track.
You
know, like a laugh track.
I can buy it again and like maybe better delivery next time. All right, Dan, what's your second pick?
All right, so I guess moving on. I've been looking for this record for a long time, and it's kind of obscure. A lot of people were more familiar with the 7-inch of this band, but I finally got my hands on a copy of it. The sleeve is torn to shit, and the actual vinyl is warped to hell, but I still got it, and it's Dallas Jim from a band called Bomb Squad.
Why does that? Did you talk about them before? What, at some point?
I think I might have talked about them, like brought them up, but I don't think I showed this yet.
No, you didn't. No.
I finally got a copy of it for less than $100. I got this for like $40 because it's all beat to hell. But I mean, it's kind of like I don't think anybody knows that they put this LP out, but from what I heard, I think Puke and Vomit was supposed to be reissuing the 7-inch as well as this LP. But they are a really, really sick ass Dallas band. If you've ever heard this, you know, it goes right alongside like I want to say like if you like stuff like the Dicks or if you like the Dicks or early Butthole Servers and stuff like that. If you're familiar with Dallas punk at all, or Stickmen or Ray Guns, they're around the same time. So they're really prolific in the Dallas scene back then too. And I'm sure a lot of people know a lot more about this band than I do, but they are talked about on this documentary called Everything is A-OK, which is done by my friend Justin Powers. And it just talks about just the rich Dallas punk history that's there. So it talks about Stickmen with Ray Guns, talks about Nerve Breakers. It talks about Bobby Sox, of course, Bomb Squad, Agitators, a lot of different bands and a lot of different clubs. So definitely check that documentary out. But this LP is it's only like 8 songs. It was released or recorded in Duncanville, which is a suburb of Dallas, released in 1983. The cool thing is the artwork, this front cover is actually done by SST artist and Black Flag artist Raymond Pettibon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool, like mid-paced, anthemic, you know, hardcore punk. It's no bells, no whistles, or anything like that. But it's definitely a sick fucking record. If you like the first 7-inch, definitely check this out. I've been hearing about this reissue for about like 2 or 3 years now, I think. So, or maybe less than that. But I've been waiting eagerly for it. But anyways, I finally got my fucking hands on a copy of it. It's all beat to hell, but that's okay. It's still got the goods on it. Definitely check it out. Bomb Squad, Dallas band. If you haven't heard it, definitely look for it.
Nice.
Yeah, what year did that LP come out?
1983. But it says like it's weird. It says like these songs were written and recorded kind of intermittently between 1981 to 1983. So they probably just, you know, took them a while to get this out, whether it was like funding or, you know, just time constraints or whatever. But really cool band. I mean, you can see just from the look of them, the straight up 80s hardcore.
Yeah. Looks mean.
Fucking sewer pick. So yeah, and the Raymond Pettibon artwork is cool. I think there's some on the insert as well too. There's like one. Let's see. Yeah, there's one right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
Pretty cool. It says music on this stereo is so loud his mother couldn't hear his screams. And there's a right there. Yeah, it's cool. Definitely check it out. Yeah, there's one of those Dallas bands that kind of get lost in the fray, and I think they're kind of obscure. A lot of people know about their 7-inch, but as far as Texas bands go, there's not a lot of mention of Bomb Squad. And so it's kind of cool to like talk about a band that's from the area I'm from. So I'm glad that like people are starting to become more aware of it to the point where it's actually going to get like a proper reissue.
right.
And yeah, just so like I said, if you're like into any of like Big Boys or the Dicks or anything like that, definitely check this shit out.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that LP.
Me neither. No.
Yeah,
No,
it's good.
me either.
Good stuff.
Thanks for putting it on the map for us, Dan.
All right.
All right.
Steve.
All right, so next up, I have another band that I was surprised to see had never been mentioned on the show before.
The Eagles.
And not quite as big as Pink Floyd by any means, but I did post a couple of their records in the group a little while ago, and I got a really good response. So I think people will be pretty excited to see this. And you know me, I love Crust, so I always got to talk about at least one Crust record every time I'm on the show. So this is my obligatory Crust record this time, and I'm speaking about Instinct of Survival.
All right.
And their 2014 album, Call of the Blue Distance. So this band's from Germany, and they kind of started off doing like that kind of grindy, crusty kind of thing that was popular in the early 90s. And then on their second LP, they just transitioned to like pure traditional crust, like really metallic stuff. That record was called North of Nowhere. And this is their third record. And on this one, they still have the crust, but then there's a lot of Killing Joke influence on this.
Yeah, right.
I just absolutely loved like this automatic. Like I loved the record that came out before this. I didn't think they could do any better than that. And then this came out, and I was like, what? So this record just immediately commanded my attention. It's just like 10 songs of like the absolute perfect blend of like crust and that like dark post-punk that like Killing Joke was like. And you know, if you think about it too, like Amoebics, the godfathers of English crust, they always said that Killing Joke was one of their biggest influences. So it kind of makes sense that these two sounds would go together so nicely. But yeah, I posted this in the group a while back, and people were just like, "Oh yeah, that fucking record, man, it's fucking incredible." So I've been listening to it. Like I don't think I've put it back in the shelves since. So I saw it sitting there calling to me, and it's like, Steve, it's like the people must know. Anyone who doesn't know about Instinct of Survival, Call the Blue Distance, spread the word.
Those guys. Now, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here. Apologies if I am. Those guys seem to live the chaos. They like a drink or two.
Oh,
They do. We played a festival with them in 2015. We played Bleak Life Fest in Ottawa with them.
oh,
And,
nice.
They definitely like to drink, but they were super nice guys, super nice dudes. And you know, Patrick, the bass player on that, passed away a couple of years ago, sadly.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah.
But, yeah, wicked band.
That is a cool record. I do like how they change things up on that record.
Yeah.
Killing Joke and a little bit of post-punk stuff thrown in there.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear a band like continue to evolve their sound, but like still make a good record. Because sometimes bands are like, "Oh, we got to evolve our sound," and then it's put out crap, and you're like, "Oh, what's this?
Like a
Go
worst-
back."
worst-
But this one, it worked. Like each record's like better than the last by like a significant amount. So, and yeah, like I was amazed to hear that they were still together for like I don't know if they still play now, but like a buddy of mine was over there. Like when they had like their 20th year anniversary show or something like that, and I was like, "Wow, I can't believe this band's been a band for 20 years." But yeah, I think like their first record came out like '98 or something, so it has been that long.
Yeah, and even before that, two of them played in kind of like a death metal project prior.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it in the metallic riffing for sure. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, great record. If you don't know it, highly recommended. Check it out. Definitely one of my favorite records. It's probably come out in the past decade or so. Though actually, at 2014, this is even beyond the past decade at this point. So,
Just
just by a hair. But yeah, if you like Killing Joke and or you like Crust, and especially if you like both, highly recommend it.
Yeah. That should be a subgenre unto its own. Is like Killing Joke influenced crust.
Oh my god, I wish there was
When
more
you
of
go
it.
that
Yeah.
kind of rabbit hole, when it's done right, it's actually really fucking good.
Yeah, like half of the Zygote record is like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
If I talked about this before, because like you had like George, who was in the Smart Pills. He was into Killing Joke, so like the songs that he wrote were like had that. But then the other songs were written by Stig, and he was into Motorhead and Venom, and then those are the ones he sang. So you've got like it's like almost like two different bands on like one record almost. But it works though. It works. But yeah, they were definitely super into Killing Joke. Absolutely. All right, Matt, what you got?
So this is something that I think is a super important record. Skate punk is a bit of a divisive term. Some people, say skate punk, you think, Lagwagon and Pennywise and stuff like that. Other people, you say skate punk, you think of like The Faction or JFA.
The bonus ones?
Boneless ones, yeah. Arguably, though, I think this is probably, to me anyway, the best skate punk record ever made. And it's by a Canadian band.
Oh!
This thing screams skateboarding to me. From originally Edmonton, Alberta, eventually relocating to Vancouver. One of the most insane, intense live shows out of any band I've ever seen play. Chai Pig is all over the stage, 15 feet in the air, springing off of the bass drum with puppets and toys and all sorts of crazy crap going on. Just incredible hardcore.
Yeah, they came to England in like I think it was 87. Still like one of the best live bands I've ever seen. It was just incredible.
And you guys, may have noticed it's not the cover that you typically.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So originally it was a photo, a Diane Arbus photo. They got sued over it, so they just drew it instead. They also got like a cease and desist on. So then, a little later, they redid the cover with the one that you typically see with the train set and the head. Okay. And
yes.
In the UK, it's a totally different cover too.
It is. I was going to say, isn't there like more than 2 different covers of that?
4.
4.
There's 4 of them. Yeah.
And how many do you own, Matt?
Just this one.
Oh, okay.
Just this one. Yeah.
You're not one of those kind of completists.
No, there's only a few bands I'll hold like multiples of.
Yeah.
Like Misfits, Danzig is a big one. The Damned, The Clash, I'll do like a 12-inch, a 10-inch, a 7-inch. If they're somehow like a little different or something. But yeah, no, I'm not. I typically don't do like pressing variants and stuff. If I can get an original, that's usually what I hang on to. So This is like a second press. Gotcha. The earliest one I've ever found.
Man, it's hard to pick a favorite from those like first 3. I still
love like the Epitaph era too. Like that band, like to me, they cruised through. They always did their thing. They always sounded like SNFU, and
right.
Yeah.
I think If You Swear You'll Catch No Fish was the first one I heard, so I kind of still have a soft spot.
So that's number 2.
Yeah, it's so good, man. What a freaking band. Let's not bury it, but like when melodic hardcore was fucking great,
One of those bands I wish I could have caught, man, because just hearing the stories from their live performances just sound fucking crazy. Like Chai Pig and just every photo I see of them playing live is his feet up in the air, like
10 feet in the air.
Yeah. And I got into that. I got into them like late in the game too. So like, that was, I missed the whole fucking, I missed the whole party on that one, man.
I think I've seen them 4 times over the years. And even then, like, I'm only 42. So even then I missed them at their peak. Like I saw them like on the downhill slide and they were still insane.
So good. But the guitar player, I think it's the guitar player, he was living in Japan for a long time down in Kochi.
Oh, really?
You might have met him, Dan, because became really good friends with Soichi and stuff.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name though, but
What's his name?
I forget his name, but he was living in Japan for quite a number of years down
I
south.
think that might have been like a later era guitar.
Okay.
Because originally it was the Belky brothers.
Right.
All the early stuff.
Right. What a great band. What a great band they were. Speaking of crust, as we were a little bit, I'm not the person that's usually associated with crust. But let's debate. Let's have a debate about this record. Is it crust or isn't? If you've never heard it, it could be difficult to join in with the debate. But there's some debate about whether this record is crust or not, and it's a really important record. And actually, this wasn't the way I was going to approach this pick. I had another way I was going to approach it, and that was going to be that. So when I moved to Japan, I sold all my records, and then it took me a long time to kind of get back into buying records, and I had to get back all the Selfish records, like LPs. Of course, I did. Lip Cream, Death Side, Gauze, Nightmare, blah, 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 blah. But there was one that fucking just eluded me. I could not find this one record on Selfish Records. And I don't know why. It never showed up in the bins, all these years. I ended up fucking buying the CD. I got so fed up, I bought the CD of it. And it's this band's second LP, Selfish Records, came out in 1991, and just last week I finally fucking found a copy of the record. Any guesses? What I'm talking about?
Oh, I'm excited to see what you got.
Remember, I did say the word crust, which you don't normally associate with Selfish Records. So
I don't know. I don't think Effigy put anything on Selfish, did they?
I think so. when you show it, you'll go, of course, Acid, Grey.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking hell! This is a interesting record because it kind of predates a lot of things that happened later in the crust scene, and it's I don't know what they were influenced by, or because the first LP is more like Chaos UK influenced Japanese hardcore, which is pretty kind of basic for Japanese hardcore. The drums are pretty basic. The first album, Shock Troop, which I love, they called their first LP Shock Troop. Just cut the S off the Coxbarra title and call it Shock Troop. Why not? We've already stolen the band name from a Belgian heavy metal band. Let's steal
Yeah, right.
But this one, man, it's you put it on, it's cavernous, the production. It's almost like that fourth Gauze LP, but even more so. It's it booms out of you, and it's got this slow, heavy, lurching instrumental intro to it, which, where did that come from? In Japanese hardcore. It doesn't sound like any other Japanese hardcore at all. And so it's 1991. A lot of the records, I don't know, man. It's kind of crusty. I've seen debates about it. Is this a crust record? Isn't it? It's kind of out on its own. There's no other records that sound like this. Japan, 1991. There's a bit of kind of, I don't know, it's almost like Misery, kind of almost at times. It's
yeah, right.
Kind of. But I don't know if these guys were listening to Misery at the time. I don't know. Yeah,
they're really tighter at their instruments than Misery, right?
Yeah, it's just a very interesting record, and apparently it's weird because Selfish Records were a big label, and then I've heard though they were kind of a big influence on what came later in the Japanese crust scene.
Wow. Okay.
But no other band sounds like this though. They were kind of out on their own with this thing. So mysterious record. But man, have you heard this record? Fuck, it's heavy as hell, man. It's
yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to it. Since like I said, it's kind of hard to find. Now you're making me want to track down a copy in the wild. So
well, you know what? You're probably find it quicker than I did. I mean, it took me a while. It's a really nice copy. Yeah. It's super clean.
Yeah, it looks in really good shape.
Look at that. It kind of it's just got. Look at it. It's just got that kind of gloomy vibe to it. But weird is a one-of-a-kind record on Selfish Records. No other Japanese crust band, as far as I know, kind of sounded like this. I think, you know what? I think someone in this band was like listening to American crust of this era.
Wow.
Right? I think that's what happened.
Somebody was tape trading.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Like let's throw a bit of this in, but they kind of didn't announce that's who they were in. Like Apocalypse and bands like that, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea, but
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to that pipeline going the other way.
Oh,
and
yeah.
American bands being influenced by the
Right,
Japanese.
exactly.
You never think that it could go the other way. Cross-pollination.
Yeah. And the singer, it's funny because the singer kind of has this very like reedy like voice, but the guitarist does like the growls like here and there. So it's kind of almost dual vocals, but not always.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they call themselves Ragscore, right? They even had their own genre, Ragscore, which is so cool.
Ragscore.
And Ragscore Never Die is like the second song. It's just cool, man. I don't know. It's just a one of a kind record, from Japan.
All right, Ragscore Revival 2025. Let's go, people.
Yeah, you heard it here. Didn't Gloom steal it? They added something to it, like something rags, something core in the early days. I know Gloom were really influenced by Acid, but they don't.
Oh yeah, like the Speed Rags. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, of course, like the vocalist Kuro went on to be in Liberate, which is a straight up traditional Japanese hardcore band, and then he went Slow Motions, or like a kind of garage punk band.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done everything. This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I definitely listened to a lot of Liberate when I was first getting into like Japanese punk. Like you find a lot of that in like US distros, and it's great stuff. So
yeah, those dudes are really well aware of all that crust, just in general, as much as also like hardcore punk. So like when going over to the Cruz house, they were fucking listening to and we went to Hide's house. They were listening to Amoebics like straight up and just rolling fat joints and going from there. But like they and the cool thing about that too is like they have a weird way of kind of like talking about, like, for instance, like Effigy, they don't really describe themselves as a crust band either, so to speak. At first that they didn't. Like fucking Acrostics either. The Acrostics kind of changed their sound from like going from like an Amoebics influenced band to more traditional Japanese hardcore. So it's kind of cool to see how they how it works its way into the Japanese hardcore music.
But yeah, to me, like, if you're into like crust, heavy crust, and you haven't heard this might kind of blow your socks off,
Mm-hmm.
Japan, like,
I'll tell you one thing though. If you want to know if a band is a crust band, you look at the photo and you're like, do these people shower? And can you smell this photo? That's instantly. It's a crust band.
Even the crustiest Japanese bands smell kind of nice, right?
Dude, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so all right. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. Japanese crusties, the best smelling crusties in the world, hands down.
Of course.
It's not a high bar to cross.
Work.
Yeah.
In the week. They only put on those clothes like once a month for the show.
For the game.
Anyway, let's move on before I get in trouble. Dan, what's your next thing?
All right. So all right. So
what's your next pick and how do they smell?
Well, they probably these dudes probably smell just as bad as crusties back in the day. But I just came across this record, and here in Texas, it's already getting hot as fuck. But it's like one of those times where like, you roll around, get a couple drinks, go see some friends, hang out on the patio outdoors. Best fucking record for that is fucking ZZ Top Diguelo.
Yeah, baby.
Or no here in Texas, Diguelo. But yeah, this fucking this record, man. It starts off with a blues cover, a soul cover. What's it?
That's my broom.
I thank you. Who did that one? That was fuck. I have my notes on all this shit, and I fucking closed it, and I've been drinking this bottle. So
it's Elmore James.
What do we call this round? Is this round 4? You guys called it, man.
Yeah.
We're
round 4.
It's an Elmore James song. That's my broom.
Yeah. So okay, so the story about this. Oh hell yeah, man, yours is much nicer than mine.
Horrible blue strip on the side.
Yeah. So I got this. I want to say a few days ago. There's a store in Dallas called Half Price Books, and they have everything from all kinds of books, comic books, records, toys, you name it. But they do have a lot of gems from time to time. And I was kind of walking in there. I saw a Scorpions record that I wanted, but I was like, for the price they wanted for that Scorpion records, how beat up it was, this was only like $15. So I was like, dude, this is totally fucking no brainer, dude. I'm grabbing this one. The story about this is this was released in 1979. So I think ZZ Top has kind of taken a break from touring to do this record, but right before then they were doing tours in Europe. So Billy Gibbons and the gang were out there getting exposed to a lot of punk and a lot of different styles of music, mostly punk. So I think like that doesn't really show up musically, but I think in attitude, the way that these songs, the way they approach them has a very kind of like punk approach to it. If you think on the lines of like Dr. Feelgood, it's got like that real punky kind of blues swagger to it. And, I think ZZ Top is really dialed in on this record. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's got a bunch of songs that just are easily recognizable riffs. Like, fucking Cheap Sunglasses is on here.
So
and like,
that's like an all-timer, that song, man.
Yeah.
I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide as well.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. Dude, come on, dude. That's like, that's low-key my theme song whenever I piss somebody off. I'm sorry. But like, fucking like, so like I was saying, man, it's getting hot in Texas, man. This is a perfect record to throw on when it's just like, man, it's gonna go have a couple drinks, enjoy the cool nights while they're still cool before it gets too hot as fuck where you can't step outside and you're just instantly lying on fire. But yeah, this is a chill ass record. It's got a lot of swagger to it. It's no mystery. It's not like, everyone knows that ZZ Top took a lot of influence from like a lot of the blues and honky tonk that was ever present in their upbringing in Texas. So, ZZ Top, it just seeps with that attitude, seeps with that musicianship. It's even got covers that they pay homage to the people that they are directly influenced from. And, if you have any kind of question if it's a punk record, I mean, it's got a fucking skull on it, dude. There's nothing more punk than a skull. But yeah, so this record's so chill, dude, and it's just perfect for this time of year, I think. And it's just, I don't know, it's just it just seeps attitude. This is a cool fucking record. You put it on there like, dude, this is just
cool. Classic. It's the first ZZ Top record that I heard because I heard Cheap Sunglasses on the radio, like the Friday Rock Show. And then I found the record in the local store in Yeovil, and man. But that one's an interesting one, though, because it's like that is also kind of like a transitional record because they've got the horn section on there, right? They've got the horn section, which they didn't really do before. And it is, you're right, there's more like that kind of like up-tempo, like driving, like Doctor and the Feel Good kind of stuff going on, which they kind of had it before, but definitely a different feel to that record than the ones that came before it.
Yeah, and they're kind of trying to do, weird things with like the sounds, like with the little intros that they do with the voiceovers, and that one part in the song where he's like woo woo, that kind of shit.
Manic Mechanic.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so like, they're doing, they were trying new things on this, and like I think it was around the time when they really started growing their beards out long too.
Yes. And then the next one is even fucking weirder. That like El Loco. That's record. And then Eliminator, like it was pretty like quick transition from that to El Loco to Eliminator, right? Just like 3-4 years maybe.
Yeah, it's crazy too because like at that point, music was drastically changing, and when they put out Eliminator, they had a choice to either kind of like go with the rest of what everybody was trying to do or do their own thing. So even though they had more of a modern sound on like Eliminator, they're still very much ZZ Top.
Yeah.
And we're doing something different than what a lot of people were for that time. They weren't making like hair metal, so, mad props to them for fucking doing their own thing. But yeah, dude, this record is like the fucking chillest summertime record. I highly I mean, yeah, like that comment, all their shit rips. That's true.
Yeah, they don't really have any really bad records. I mean, I have all the later ones on CD because they're not on vinyl. They're pretty good too, you know. Like,
yeah.
Just
like,
so all of our Canadian fans know that ZZ Top.
ZZ Top, yeah. Yeah, and like we actually, my old band Obstruction, we had a lot of influence with ZZ Top, like where, you know, as in the regard of like, you know, how like a lot of punk bands have Motorhead influence, we kind of like reformulated some of the influence from like ZZ Top riffs to put in as like rock and roll intros to the DB hardcore songs. And that's, you know, we wear that on our sleeves, and we're just, you know, it's just like, it's hard to like talk about things, bands and anything that comes out of Texas, especially when like every day I wake up, it seems like there's something I don't like about this state and living here and shit. But that's one of the things that I can be like, yo, you know what? There's still some really good about Texas, and it's rife with a lot of culture. It's rife with a lot of bullshit that's not even attached to all the bad things that you see. And one thing that I love is ZZ Top. Straight up Texas ass shit.
Yeah, I absolutely adore all of the 70s era ZZ Top, especially like that Texas boogie sound. I mean, you're right. It's like perfect music for drinking beer and raising hell.
Right. It's one of those things where I don't know what to put on today. Fuck it. It's like ZZ Top, you know. It's like it's any occasion, you know. It's gonna fit. Yeah. So good.
You know, it's like there was just a meme about them going around too. You know, the new bass player they got, Elwood. So I forget his last name, but you know, he like got this like 17-string bass as a joke, but then like he played it on stage and everyone like responded really well to it. So he's like, "Fuck me, man! Now I got to carry this 17-string bass around. It's such a pain in the ass to play." Like, he's like, "I really screwed myself with this one."
Oh, man.
You know, Dusty Hill has some big shoes to fill. So
I've heard all sorts of stories about like Billy Gibbons hanging out with like Al Jurgensen from Ministry and being like a total wild man partying and stuff. And it's kind of, you know he definitely is rock and roll. There's no argument there.
He came on stage one time with Rocky Erickson.
Right.
Oh, I was at that show in Texas.
Yeah.
Chaos and Chaos. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, dude, so cool. That was fucking awesome. That was hands down one of the best things to see. It was just like, man, this is some Texas ass shit right here.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I felt very privileged to be in the crowd for that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because I had a big beard at the time too, and some like lady who was like probably 20 years older than me came up to me and she's like, "You look just like Rocky did when he was your age." And I was like, "Is she trying to pick me up right now? Like, I don't know about this."
Blow her jug.
All right, Steve. What's your next pick? What you got?
All right. So next record I want to talk about is actually a record that just turned 30 years old last month. Ooh. And it's getting kind of warm in my house here. You know, someone was complimenting me on this long sleeve in the chat. And,
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
I'm glad I got some appreciation, but I got to lose it. So next up, I want to talk about this little record by a band called Unwound.
Wow.
They were probably one of the godfathers of that like Pacific Northwest, like post-hardcore kind of sound. This band was like kind of responsible for putting Kill Rock Stars on the map. I think they were like an all-spoken word record label until Unwound started putting out stuff on there. But this album just turned 30 years old. Came out back in 1995. And this is actually the first album I heard by them. So it's like got me into the band. And I mean, there's people who consider Unwound to be like one of the best bands of the 90s. And they were like a really unique band. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them or not, but like they had like a very, like people are always trying to figure out what genre to lump them into, and they never really fit. And it, like I've seen people call them emo, which I'm like, this is not an emo band. Like, what are you talking about? You know, like I think they most usually get lumped in with either like post-hardcore or like, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, just like really unique sound, like really driving bass lines, like really like interesting, unique guitar lines. You know, drummers just keeping it all in lockstep. You know, vocals that are somewhere halfway between like singing and screamy kind of stuff. And just like a band that wasn't afraid to like play around too. Like, you know, this album has a song called Party My French on it, which is just them like putzing around with like this little organ. It's like the kind of music you'd hear at like a French coffee shop back in the 60s or something. It's a nice little interlude before they get back to the rock. So and this is a band, you know, they were active from like 1988 to about 2002. They disbanded after they did a big tour. And I was lucky enough to see them on that last tour they did. It was for their Leaves Turn Inside You album. on the Philly date, and so glad to being a band I'd loved since high school. So glad to see him live. But the original bass player Vern, he's sadly passed away back in 2020, and in 2022 the surviving members, they'd been talking about trying to do a reunion for like a decade at that point, and they're like, well, let's do it for Vern. So they got their buddy Jared, who's also from the same hometown, Tumwater, Washington, right next to Olympia. And Jared, he's known for playing in like bands like Carp and Big Business, so he kind of slotted right in there. So they did a tour with him. I got to see that too. Incredible tour, well received. So now they're playing again, and they're coming back on tour. They're doing a full U.S. tour for this album. I'm going to see them in September. It's already sold out. It's actually at the same venue that I saw them back in 2002, so it's kind of like coming full circle for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, I've been listening to this a lot, just so excited with like the show coming up in a few months, and just revisiting that like teenage nostalgia for how much I love this album. And yeah, this shirt right here, I got this when I saw them last year when they came through on the first reunion tour, or yeah, it's 2023 now. And this record actually, this came as part of a box set that Numero Group put out. So anyone who's familiar with Numero Group knows like how just extensive their stuff is, and they did a series of 4 box sets of Unwound's entire recorded discography. So like every 7-inch, every comp track, every album, they just compiled it all into 4 box sets. Each box set has 3 LPs. So Future What, this is like on the part of the 3rd box set, 3 of 4.
Wow.
If you're a fan of Unwound, I definitely recommend biting the bullet and getting the box sets. I mean, it comes with like these huge booklets. It's got like tour diaries from the band, like more information than you could ever hope to know about this band, like everything that went into their touring, their writing. This band toured extensively back in like the 90s, so I think that really helped them build up their name back then. And yeah, like I said, if you like, just look how thick that is.
That's just one of the boxes.
Yeah, that's just one of 4. Yeah, so I don't know if any of you got that Blondie box set. I personally didn't, but I mean that was like
I really want one.
I've ever seen.
Really want one.
I know.
I do have
like,
a Husker Du box though, and it's sweet.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So yeah, you know what kind of work Numero Group does. And yeah, actually, it's funny. This past March, Numero did their own March Madness bracket where it was like they pitted a bunch of like 90s bands against each other, and Unwound actually won. So they were like, there are March Madness winner, best band of the 90s, and I was like, yeah, I could. Like looking at some of the other bands on the list, I'm like, yeah, Unwound's definitely the best band on this list. So
Wow.
I agree with their assessment. So yeah, if you're not familiar with them, like they're even saying too, like their shows are a mix of like the old heads like me coming out, and then like young kids coming out and discovering this band, because it's like a really high energy, almost kind of like grungy sound. So I mean, kids love just like bouncing around to it. Even when I saw them, like there was like a pit of like 17-year-olds that could have been like the children of the people on stage. And then like me and all my old friends are like standing in the background being like, yeah, they sound good. Yeah, like this is great.
That's actually how I heard about them. Is some of my younger friends were posting about like when you can post an image of the record and the song on Instagram. They're like posting that like for a good few weeks, and I was like, I've always heard the name and I never listened to it, and that's why when I started listening to it and discovering it. So I'm very late to the game on this one too. But yeah, dude.
There's no wrong time to get into Unwound. So
I've got a buddy that went to Evergreen University in Olympia, and that's a band that's come up in our conversations like a handful of times.
Yeah, I feel like they're one of the first bands to really put like Olympia on the map for sure. Cool. I wonder if like the kids from Electric Chair and Physique are all secret Unwound fans.
All right.
Yeah, great band. Very excited to see them. Really glad they're playing music again. R.I.P. Vern. It's not the same without you, but I'm glad the band can continue on. Glad I got to see them with the original lineup too. So, yeah, good stuff out there. Check them out if you haven't. And yeah, they make a nice fitting T-shirt as well. I feel so much cooler and more comfortable now. So
you look good too.
Thank you. It's got that nice like gray on black print. So it's like
I like the gray on black. It's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Matt, what's your
cool? So I decided since this is the first show I've been on with Dan, me and Steve are 3-peating tonight.
Yeah, baby.
First time with Dan that I'd do a Dallas band.
Yes.
So I have no idea whether Dan knows this band or not. I don't know, what, where his Dallas music knowledge lies. I assume he probably knows who they are. But like, I've been on the show a few times. Clearly I'm into punk and hardcore and crust and D-beat, but something I've always pulled out pretty well every show is I love 90s garage rock and like garage punk. stuff on Crypt, stuff on Estrus, Telstar, you know, the Mummies, New Bomb Turks, that kind of stuff. When I was 16, our record store in town, that's what they specialized in. They were open for 3 years when I was 16 to like 19. And the guys would be like, buy this, buy this, buy this. And we'd be buying these Mummies records and, head coats and all that kind of stuff. But there's this really, really great band from Dallas that I think is super underappreciated called The Mullins.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Or on Get Hip. This album's on Get Hip. And it is this. It's a little more garagey than New Bomb Turks, but still really punk. Wild, like kind of like DMZ worship. Throwing in some of the 60s garage rock with 77 punk. Just an absolutely phenomenal record. They did 3 or 4 after this, and then they broke up. Matt had, I think, the Vultures at one point that was like maybe on Dirt Nap or one of those labels, like kind of like way after the fact. I think they did a Boys cover on their 7-inch, if memory serves. But this thing is just a phenomenal garage rock, like punk rock and roll record. And this to me is probably their best album. This is the first one that I bought as a kid, but it is just an absolute ripper. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with this.
I'm not. I'm excited. You know what? I've been thinking recently how well like that 90, most of that 90s garage stuff still sounds like ferocious today. It's like it's held up so well. But I've not heard that band.
I've been listening to a lot of that kind of stuff lately, and swinging them back and into rotation. It's like, man, this still sounds awesome. There's so many of those great bands. I listened to the Von Zippers' Bad Generation like a couple of weeks ago. What a absolute killer.
We didn't know we had it so good, It's like we were spoiled,
The grass is always greener on the other side, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, that fucking band, man, like they were still active for a little while too, I believe. When we were still playing shows out in like Deep Ellum. But they're definitely there is like a lot of like really badass garage punk bands from Dallas. And like I guess the one that most people have heard about is probably like the Marked Men. So,
right. But they were Denton, weren't they?
Mullins sound like that, but yeah, I'm not as well versed in the Mullins as I should be, I think. But definitely, we used to go to this bar called the Sunshine Bar. There's a lot of old rock and roll heads that would go up there, and they would like school us on shit like that. And we were kind of just having these conversations about like how these different genres of rock and roll and punk kind of intertwine with each other. So like, for instance, I traded a dude a fucking Catholic Boy LP for like every Spasm 151 7-inch there. But Mullins and the Mummies were the band that they would always bring up. Or 2 bands that they would bring up. But yeah, I definitely need to check them out more than, I definitely need to look into it a lot more.
Sonic Gigi in the comments apparently.
Agrees. Great band. Yeah, great band. The Mullins. There's so many bands from that era though. It's crazy. And even like the sort of like the second tier ones are still like pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I think I can do a little bit of a tie-in with that pick. Not really. Kind of. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I was talking about some garage punk from Tokyo, like some contemporary kind of garage punk. This like all-girl band, 3 girls from Tokyo, called the High Marts. Although this picture at this time, this picture was taken, they had a guy in the band, but basically they usually a 3-piece girl band. I was talking about this band, the High Marts. So if you didn't watch 2 weeks ago when I talked about the High Marts, check out the High Marts. So this fucking amazing like 3 girls from Tokyo playing like garage punk, but really influenced by like the Japanese guitar, the group sounds bands of the 60s. So it's just got this real cool like Japanese 60s feel to it. The High Marts. This is my pick from 2 weeks ago. So it's funny because like I was listening to this band like a lot last month or so, and it's like, man, I kind of dig this kind of music. I wonder if there's anything else in this kind of ballpark. And like the guy at Disc Union was like, yeah, there is another band that's kind of doing this kind of thing, but it's a little different. But you might be into it. And so I took a chance. I trusted him, and I took a chance, and I bought this record. And it's pretty funny. I'll tell you all about it. Look, okay. So first, like, let's look at the record. This is the, like, here it is. The band is called Soleil. It's the name of the band, but it's also this woman. She's a woman now, but at the time she was a teen. I mean, she was a teenager, like 17, 16, I think, when they made this record. It's back. There you go. There it is.
Cool.
But this is like it's an interesting band. I'll try to explain it as best as I can. It seems like a bit of like a music industry, like kind of manufactured band, kind of, but it isn't really. But it kind of feels like I thought so. When I kind of looked into it a bit more, I kind of realized that it actually isn't. But it does kind of have that feel to it a little bit. So it's this woman, Soleil. She's like she's half British, half Japanese, singer and glockenspiel player.
Oh,
Which, you know, okay, there's that. I think she has like 1 7-inch under another name, which I haven't heard. And then there's this band. And the backing band is like these these guys in their 60s at the band. Okay, but one of the guys was in a band with one of the guys from the Blue Hearts, the Blue Hearts, the biggest punk band. So these guys are kind of like songwriters, kind of like music industry kind of guys. And the other guy in the band, the bass player, does soundtrack stuff. Now I don't know if you guys know the movie Caterpillar. Japanese movie. It's like it's kind of a controversial movie, and it's really commentary. It's like anti right-wing nationalism in Japan after World War II. That's what the movie's about, but you might not think so if you see the movie. But he did the soundtrack for that movie. So you got these two like guys in their 60s, this teenage woman, basically, and it's recorded in mono, like doing like British invasion, like early Beatles, like early Kinks, all that stuff, you know. The first song is just a complete rip-off of Start by The Jam, which of course is a rip-off of Taxman by the Beatles. But it's so cool. It's like the 60s UK, you know, the British invasion stuff, but sung by this Japanese woman in like 2019 this came out. But it's cool, man. I dig it. It's another one of these like summertime records, and they do a cover of UFO.
Really?
A song called UFO, which is written by Barry Gray, who did all the Thunderbirds music. Like Thunderbirds,
the band UFO.
So they do one. So you can kind of conjure. It's almost like Austin Powers. You know what I mean? It's like swinging 60s, swinging London. Look at it. It's like, you know,
that's what the aesthetic is giving me.
Yeah. It's
Totally.
they're trying to sort of bring that back into like modern era, like Tokyo. It's like the swinging 60s. You know, the Beatles. You know, it's cool, and obviously it's not an easy record to find or track down. It's only released in Japan, but they have a bunch of videos and stuff on YouTube.
What year is that from?
This one is from 2019. This is like their second LP. They have 3.
2019. So you said there was a member of the Blue Hearts involved in this?
No, there's a guy in this band, who is in a band called Marshmallow with a guy with the guitar player of the Blue Hearts, who also do like 60s UK.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah.
So once removed.
Yes.
So like
second cousin.
Yeah.
It's all these like kind of older guys who are in bands that like write really good songs, and they give the songs to this band. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it is a real band. It's not like a major label like manufactured band. It's a real band, but it's kind of different to And Dan, you know the Crazy Ken band?
Yeah, I love the Crazy Ken band, dude.
Okay, I figured that you knew the Crazy Ken band This will get
Yeah,
you.
welcome to
Ken,
Yokohama. Oh,
yes.
my God.
Okay, Crazy Ken wrote a song for this record.
No shit. I definitely got to check it out now.
I knew that would be the clinch. I knew. I was saving that till last. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Hong Kong Chang.
Hong Kong. That sounds like a Crazy Ken song.
So yeah, this is a bit of an obscure one if you know not living in Japan and stuff, but it was so cool. You know, like the swinging 60s, swinging London in Tokyo, like 2019. I know, just has this vibe to it. I know, I love it. I've been playing this record to death. But there you go. That's my fourth pick. Soleil. Recorded in mono too. Who does that in 2019?
Yeah, people going for that British invasion sound.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, Crazy Ken.
So how many picks do we get? Or is this? Do we get like 2 more or 1 more?
This is round 4, so you've got
Round
2
4.
more.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey man, I'm putting a dent on this bottle here, man. You know, it's getting hot in Texas.
Oh yeah, where are we at now? Okay, yeah, that's.
Yeah, doing good.
Oh, I see Hazel's.
You're doing better. Wow, actually, as I expected, you're doing as I expected you to.
Yeah, right on track. I see Hazel's checking in from the green room.
Hey.
Oh shit! What's up? Shouts out Hazel. What's up?
Hazel was originally supposed to be a guest tonight, but she's playing a gig, so hope the gig's going well, Hazel.
Hey.
I'm sorry I missed out last time. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
there's plenty of more chances. Actually, it's a good question. I looked up the label this Soleil record is on, and I think the label is called Vivid Sound, and I looked into it. I brought up Vivid Sound on Discogs, and they have like 20 different like sub labels.
Oh.
Wow.
So I was like, I don't have time to check. But one of them was like, hang on, let me go back. Oh yes, British Psychedelic Revolution label. And wow. I can't believe this. They reissued all the early Status Quo stuff on CD in Japan. You know, all the 60s psychedelic Status Quo stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
crazy.
And they have another label called British Beat Explosion, another label called like British Jazz Vibes or whatever. So they're obviously into like British stuff, this label. Right? Yeah. I think it's just a big indie, but I don't know who's behind it. But it's pretty funny. I mean, you can find anything in Japan. There's all sorts of stuff going on, you know. So there you go. All right, Dan, what you got?
All right, so the next one, I got a little story about these records, or this next pick. I got my band Barricade played a fest in Oklahoma City called Everything's Not Okay, and this fest had been going on like pre-COVID for a while now. I think they had done like 4 or 5 of them were in, but it was always bands like Bib and you know, Wiccans and Slimy Member, Lacerations, you know, nice. Several different egg punk and hardcore punk, Lumpy and the Dumpers, you know, and the list goes on. There are plenty of fucking awesome bands. They brought it back this year. My band Barricade played, and the show that we played was, I think the headliner was Armor that night. But there's a few bands that I had seen that I'd never heard of, and like one or 2 of my favorite bands that performed that night. So I'm gonna give an honorary mention. One of my favorite bands that I saw that night was The Disgusting. I think that's like ex-members of Mutant Strain, but as soon as they started playing, people were throwing fucking beers, just like buzzed out, like blown out, like, you know, tupa fucking like hardcore punk and shit like that. So definitely check this out. But this isn't the band I want to talk about. The band that I want to talk about that I got the 7-inch from, I never heard of them before the show. So to see them was like a really, really good introduction to their sound. But I'm going to talk about God's Hand. They are a band out of Iowa. I'm not sure when they released this 7-inch. I just got it like 2 weeks ago when we played that fest. But they're fucking awesome. They're really good live, and their sound it's kind of like they definitely have like a mix of 77 punk from like, I want to say like if the Buzzcocks era and the Fall, but like there's also some Saccharine Trust kind of influence in there picking up on, but yeah, they were like the only band that showed up and like they played with like class and like pure musicianship. And so the songs are really interesting, but they're definitely earworms. And so like the thing about this 7-inch is it's only 2 songs. And I talked to their guitar player. They're going to be putting out more material. Some of it's going to be more Blitz influenced, which I actually heard during their set, like late Blitz era, like, you know.
It's like which Blitz, yeah. Early Blitz
yeah.
or later Blitz,
yeah. Yeah. So that's very interesting. And I actually I remember the song that he's talking about because, like I said, some of those songs that I heard when they were playing live, it never left me. So I was like, you know, thinking about this band, and I got their record, and it's really unique sound. Their singer has a lot of charm and energy on stage. So very, I mean, it's something that not a lot of people are doing right now as far as punk goes. It's not hardcore or anything, but it's very well thought. Let me put it this way. I kind of like felt the same way when I was watching The Observers live, where you can tell they put a lot of thought and process into like writing the music, but there's that energy as well. So they look cool on stage. They had like a swagger to them. The songs are great. It's almost like they're spoon feeding us this music though, because there's only 2 songs on this one. I think there's only going to be a couple songs on the next one. I'm not trying to give too much away from when I talked to the guitar player, but yeah, if you want to hear some more of this stuff too, they have some really well shot videos that people have taken of them live on YouTube. But they're definitely like caught my ear. They're a really interesting band. Wow. And I wouldn't be surprised if they blew the fuck up out of all this. Really good band. Like I said, there's only 2 songs on here, but they're complete earworms. But yeah, definitely they blew me away. Them and the Disgusting too, but like this band for sure is one I haven't been able to stop thinking about since we played that fest. Wow. So yeah, definitely check it out. And their singer's from England too, which I asked him after the fest. We were talking at the bar. I asked him where he was from. And I can't even I was wasted. Oh yeah, sorry to that guy who spilled the beer on at the fest too, man. I'm sorry. But anyways,
but you know, check the classic 2-song 7-inch, you know, Judgment style.
2-song 7-inch. That's all you get, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, you definitely got my curiosity piqued.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be Googling them after the show tonight.
God's hand, you might get some interesting.
Oh yeah, right.
Results.
It's still gotta be easier than Googling tragedy though. So
right.
Yeah, it's definitely like a unique sound, man. Like I said, it's like, you know, like Buzzcocks with a little bit of Saccharine Trust, and like that's why I picked up on it. But also, you know, fucking very 77 post punk by way of Midwest, you know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm really not familiar with much going on in Iowa these days, so glad to hear there's some real musicianship coming out of there.
Yeah, they sound pro as fuck too, you know. Like, you know, like when 77 bands know how to play their instruments, like that kind of league.
Yeah.
Right, Steve, what's your
I see Nick approves of my new shirt too, so
yeah. Yes. Let's put it up in big letters. There you go.
So I've been listening to a lot of death metal lately, probably because I went to Maryland Death Fest last weekend, Memorial Day weekend here in the States. And it's my first time going to the fest since like 2016, so it's been nearly a decade. And this next band I'm going to show wasn't a band that played this year, but yeah, I got to watch a lot of classic death metal sets by like Obituary, Incantation, Benediction. And this is a band that put out, in my opinion, probably one of the top death metal releases of 2025. And before I show the cover, I'll just give a real quick content warning. This is a rather graphic cover, so any squeamish viewers out there, you might want to avert their eyes for a second. But I'm talking about the new LP by Pissgrave. Yes, that is a maggot-infested dead body. If you're familiar with it, this is their third LP. If you're familiar with any of their records, they really are good at finding the most just putrid, foul, like crime scene photos for like Bruhera type stuff for their album covers.
Put it down now, Steve. Put it down now, Steve.
Yep. You got your taste.
It's already been demonetized a long time ago.
I'm a little bit squeamish. I am that squeamish person.
You got your little taste. So that's it. But yeah, this is a band here in Philly. They started off as a 2-piece. It was 2 brothers, Tim and Matt. And my old band used to play shows with them when they were first starting off in like basements. And now, yeah, their third LP just came out. The pre-order sold out almost immediately. I had to wait for the second press before I could even get a copy, and I know the guys personally. So, like Pitchfork of all places covered this record. Like it's just it's not the kind of record you would expect to blow up like this, but it's really good. So like I'm really glad that they are getting their time to shine. And yeah, like I said, they didn't play MDF this year, but I did see just unfucking listenable stuff. Yeah, just total assault on your drums. I did see a few of the members at the fest this year, rocking out, to the various death metal classics that I was witnessing. I mean, these are all guys that love metal and really know what they're doing. And they're up to a 4-piece now. And like the guitarist just absolutely shreds. Like the lead guitarist, Demian, who plays with them, he used to play in this band called Serpent Throne, which was like an all instrumental, kind of like more like stoner rock kind of band. So if you're familiar with that band at all, this guy loves his riffs. And like on this band, he's just playing like absolutely like blistering, like razor blade guitar, but like the riffs are still there. It's like, it's raw, it's like relentless, but it's well composed. It's well written stuff. And yeah, like I said, this is their third LP. They kind of did like a little trilogy thing. I'm not really sure what they have, coming out next. Like I said, this record just came out a few months ago. So, and like, they rarely ever play shows too. So it's like last time I saw them was when Undergang from Denmark was on tour, and they did a few dates together. Like another band that, very kind of similar in approach and their love of disgustingness. So yeah, if you're into just absolutely putrid, vile death metal,
disgusting is totally the right word.
Yeah, it's just absolutely disgusting stuff. Yeah, this is the Pissgrave new record. It's called Malignant Worthlessness. If you didn't catch that, if you were too distracted by the maggots,
I've still seen.
Yeah. But yeah, great stuff. Highly recommend all their records. Arthur Rizek actually produced this one as well. Sounds absolutely nothing like the other records we're talking about tonight.
Like
but,
Tower.
It's just got that like seal of approval to it there too. So
wow.
Yeah.
I totally
like
agree.
I said, I think this is the best death metal record I've heard come out this year so far. So it's like very high level stuff there.
I've got all 3 of their LPs, and these guys are they're killing it right now. They
really are. Yeah, and like the vocals sound completely unhuman. Like he uses like some effects processors on it, so it reminds me of like the early Deicide stuff, or like even like the band before Deicide, Amon. Like, I think that was definitely an influence on what they're doing. Yeah. And like the funny thing too is like they're all like just the absolute sweetest, nicest. Like you would look at their record and think they were all like escaped serial killers, but like then you meet them and they're just like absolute sweethearts. Very good people. So don't be afraid of them if you see them on the street. You don't have to cross the street. Fear for your life. But definitely do not check their Google search history, because I'm sure it's just not pretty stuff. I don't know where they find these photos, but it's gotta be sitting on a stack of them somewhere.
I think I have their first LP still in it, but it has a protective cover on it.
Yeah, it's like when the first Carcass record came out, and they just did like the black sleeve, because it's like, this is too foul for human eyes. So they're definitely channeling that kind of vibe.
I need that demo LP.
Oh
that thing sold out like in a split second. I was never able to get one of those.
Yeah, and the nice thing is they did re-record a lot of those songs in the first and second record. But yeah, I mean, as a completist, I definitely agree. You should have the demo LP too if you can find it out there. So maybe someone will just get sick of looking at it and unload it for cheap on Discogs. You'll get lucky.
Someday.
Someone's mom will find it and be like, "Oh, get this out of here." Yeah. If through some miracle my parents are still logged on at this hour, I apologize. Sorry to show you that.
Yeah, you hoodwinked them, didn't you, with that?
Yeah, I let them in with the Pink Floyd, and bam, Pissgrave.
All right, Matt, what's your next pick?
So my next one up, I was kind of surprised that on the list I hadn't seen this guy. This guy. This dude was kind of touted to be the next kind of Kurt Cobain, perhaps, or the next big thing. Call it garage, call it punk, call it indie rock. Somewhere kind of covering all those areas.
Can I guess?
And this is a fella who passed away way too young.
Yeah, I think I know who we're talking about too.
Mr. J. Reatard.
Close to my heart. Yeah. Incredible record.
Absolutely phenomenal album. I heard this on CD shortly after it came out. One of my coworkers got married, and his band was on the California pop punk label It's Alive. He was in a band called Fear of Lipstick, and he was also in the Varsity Weirdos and Feral Trash. And
Oh,
Chiller, and a handful of other bands, buddy of mine. And he went to California on his honeymoon. Adam Alive from It's Alive said, "Hey, come out here. I'll put you up for the weekend or whatever." And he hit, he went to Doctor Strange and all those record stores, and he came home with a stack of CDs and records, right? And we worked in the record store together. So I come in one day, and there's this CD sitting on top of the local, record store CD player with, this on the cover.
Pretty eye-catching.
You know what it was? Whatever, cool. I guess I'll check this out. Eric left it here. Well, why not, right? And from that moment, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Now it was, shortly thereafter, I found out, oh, that's Jay Reatard. Oh, he was in the Reatards. Okay, I know who those guys are. Yeah, it's hip to '90s, garage rock.
Yeah.
And then he was in the Bad Times too, and a million other Memphis area, garage rock bands.
Lost Sounds, so many good bands, yeah.
Lost Sounds,
Lost
totally. But this thing was just a different beast. This was a totally different thing. I believe he plays everything on this.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Adverts cover.
Yeah.
it definitely has an Adverts vibe to it in the songwriting style. It's
We Who Wait, yeah.
We Who Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to see Jay play. Somewhere or other, it was right before. Well, it was before his band fell apart, so it was still with the lineup from all those singles. It was before the guys from the Cola Freaks started backing him.
Yeah.
So it was right before that the last LP came out. I guess I got to see the guy for a fly-in date in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Wow.
And just phenomenal. A 20-minute set. The bass player fell off the stage on the last song, and they walked. And that was it. It was exactly what you expect from Jay Reatard. It was, all the stories are true.
Yeah.
And what a wild album, and absolute shame that guy is no longer putting out music.
For real. Yeah, I remember when I first got that record, those first 4 or 5 songs, just relentless, one after another. I was immediately I got to see him twice on that tour too when that record first came out. I saw him in Philly and in DC.
Amazing.
I remember at the DC date, I just bought a stack of his records. I remember the bass player was even wow, someone just got paid today. I was just everything we got.
Somehow or another too, I find whenever I put this record on, it's 25% louder than whatever I've been listening to.
Oh,
it's
right.
mastered so high in the red. Yeah. It's unreal.
Appropriate for it, yeah.
Noisy, but it's so catchy. It's it's
that strumming style. It's
up, dude, the 16 notes.
Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Right. There's no down strumming or picking. It's just a constant up down pick style.
And the crazy thing is when they play it live too, it's even faster.
Oh,
so anytime I saw them on tour, I saw Jay Reatard during that tour when that album came out. Songs were a million times fucking faster than on the record. It's in this blazing.
I was watching the drummer and he's loop pedal that he was using too. So he'd strum the riff on the loop pedal, hit the loop pedal, then he'd go over with a second layer, and it was just unreal.
Oh, that's pretty clever. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a great pick, dude. When you brought that up, man, it just brings back such a fucking crazy time of my life. I mean, when that record came out and when we got to see him play live, I have very fond memories of that. And I remember I bought my friend, she drove us to the show. I bought her the Jay Reatard t-shirt, which was basically just a picture of his face. And I was like, "Hey, dude, can you draw something on this shirt for my friend?" He was super cool. He was like, "Yeah, dude." And he drew a dick up on his face.
Of course he did.
Cool,
yeah.
cool. But then he was like, "Where's all the drugs at?" I was like, "Hey, man, we're in Denton, dude. Maybe if we're back in Dallas, I don't know."
Well, that's what I was saying. Wasn't Marked Men? They were Denton, weren't they? They weren't Dallas.
Yeah, they're Denton.
All those bands were Denton.
Definitely.
Close enough. All right, so last round. Where does the time go? As Sandy Denny always says. Last round. Daniel's here. Daniel.
Hey.
So, just to make sure that Daniel knows this, we did talk about the Zero Azúcar record that Daniel helped put out. So everyone, hit up Daniel. He's
definitely peaked our
bang
interest.
your line, Daniel.
if you want this record. He's your man. He's your man.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I hope so. I think he's still got copies. He better have. All right, last pick, last round. I don't know about any of you guys, but I was starting to get a little bit jaded, a little bit burnt out with the new wave of post-punkish oi.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to get a little bit jaded.
Says the guy in the home front shirt.
Yeah,
You ruined the story.
they're so good.
So, yes, this is okay. Look, yes, exactly. So I haven't been listening to much of that stuff lately. I hope, right? But the other day, last week, I went and saw Homefront, and they were so good.
Yeah.
I think this band is sort of beyond that. There's much more to Homefront than just like Oi Division, you know.
I would agree. Yeah, they definitely have something special going on. Yeah,
right. But I was talking to Dan about it before the show a little bit. Like the band on record and the band live is like almost two different bands.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Right? And 100%. I can't think of an example where that has ever been more true. Just those songs like come alive, Graham is such a incredible frontman, and the band is so energetic. Honestly, it re-energized me. I just couldn't believe how uplifting they were in this small club in Japan. And I was like, man, this is the best music in the world. I just, and there was another band called Dry Acid, who are a Japanese band, who were also amazing, that are doing that sort of late era blitz thing. And they're more like stripped down. They don't have any keyboards or, anything else. They're just a 4-piece band. They were great too. So, of course, when I got back, this week I've been back to the sort of, the Oi Division a little bit. And this band has been talked about before. They're a French band. I think their 12-inch got shown before. But I love this record. They're from Paris, France. And I'm talking about Cran. Cran. C-R-A-N. From Paris, France. They do all the stuff that you've either got tired of listening to about this kind of music, or you still love this kind of music. It's late era blitz mixed with like UK 82, Vice Squad.
Paris seems to have, or France in general anyway, seems to have a really big grasp on that scene.
They know what they're doing, and this is for fans of Syndrome 81 and Litovsk and all that kind of stuff. But female fronted, great singer. I don't really know what to say about this band. It's the last pick. The vodka's kicked in. It's just great. It's just like just that sound. Okay, so I witnessed the guitar sound that these bands have, right?
Yep.
What's that effect that they used? Is it
flanger?
Delay?
It's a chorus.
Chorus.
You got a little bit of the chorus, you got a little bit of the flanger.
Yeah.
All of those, right? When you hear it on record, it is what it is. Like that's what. But man, when you hear that sound coming out like really loud out of a huge stack of speakers, it's fucking powerful, man. It's just a great guitar tone, and it's like I realized that after seeing these bands live, how like effective that guitar sound is when you see it close up.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's powerful. With the bass sound and the bass effects that they use, the reverb on the bass, and is it a drum machine? Is it a drum? It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
Female vocals, but Cran is really, really good. They're French. Of course they're good.
And it's how they kind of touched on something from each of your other picks tonight, like the garage rock sound, the female vocals.
Yeah, actually, Daniel, they are kind of like, it's almost like late blitz mixed with early blitz. And it does have that sort of UK 82 feel to it too.
What label put that out?
This is on, the label is a question. Une vie pour rien?
Oh, I don't think I know that.
Une vie pour rien.
Pour rien?
Une vie pour rien.
Exactly. Yes.
En français.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Matt. Thank you.
Dual languages in Canada, right?
Yeah, right. And there's nothing funnier than asking the British guy in Japan to pronounce French
Yes.
words.
Anyway, if you haven't got tired of this sort of new wave of post-punkish oi, this band is up there. They're one of the greats, I want to say. So check them out. Cran. And how do you pronounce this? Nate? It's not Nate. Nate Wilson. He's on next week. It is not with Nate Wilson. Natë. Nate with the umlauts over the E.
Yeah, I'm interested. I gotta check that out.
Check it out. There you go. I made it through the last pick. There you go. Dan, what's the next pick? What's the last pick?
Wait, first, where are we at with the bottle? Let's do a bottle check.
Yes.
First.
How's the experiment?
Woo, baby!
I made a good dent.
Putting a dent.
There's still time.
Yeah.
There's still time. I still got plenty of some locally pressed cherry limeade Texas juice.
Has anybody thrown up on the show yet?
Not yet.
Oh yeah.
Maybe someone will show the
we have a
picture.
high pedigree of panelists here. We don't, I wouldn't expect anything like
No,
that.
we're not like that.
Yeah, we're professionals.
We don't let those kind of people on this show. All right, Dan, what's
All right. So I'm gonna go out with a bang on this one, man. This one is gonna be a band that hasn't been talked about on the show, and also, like Mac has, a picture disc. But kind of waited on wanting to talk about this, but because they're less than savory lyrics, but they're very cheeky.
Less than savory. Oh, okay, there you go. Okay.
The Seats of fucking piss.
Yes.
The Seats of Piss. A record that is fucking very near and dear to me because it's got all the markings of just the punkest record you ever heard, with kind of like a let me press it. It's Gaba and Hendrix, two-man band, doing something along the lines of a middle ground between Chaos UK and Scumputer. So it's a lot of like, very techno influenced punk. But it just is like so it's just like so fucking very much like punk and like straight out of the fucking pub fucking party music. And it just like hits super hard. It's like that. I mean, they have a fucking song called "We Fuck Dogs." Like, it's very much like every bit of fucking like the cheekiest parts of Chaos UK and Gaba and this is kind of, some of this is like re-recordings. They did like an EP and then a split with this other band. I can't remember what their name was. Mike, you might be able to help me on that.
I was just going to say, before people get confused, this is not Jimi Hendrix. It's Dead Boy Hendrix from the Sick Boy Federation, right? Which is the old,
Sick Boy Federation. Yeah.
Not old like Nottingham like punk band.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not Jimi Hendrix.
It's Dead
But
Boy.
fucking like yeah. So this picture disc is fucking.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, he was like supposed to be sort of like the G.G. Allen of Nottingham, or whatever town he was from. Outrageous, old punk.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, this record is definitely one that's like, a fucking nice fucking party record. It's loud and it's fucking got a lot of samples on it, and it echoes and it bellows, and it's everything that you love about Chaos UK, as well as everything that you love about Scumputer, and then some. And it's really unique sound. I mean, honestly, like I don't think anybody has done anything like this. It's from the brain. It's from the brain of fucking Gabo. So like, it's gonna be fucking sick and just completely unhinged. But like, it's really hard music to describe if you've never heard it or ever heard Scumputer or anything like that. So
yeah,
if you are kind of just like drawing a blank, check it out. You'll love it. Like I said, they're very off on a very cheeky path of like lyrics. So, not the most PC thing in the world, but it's fucking fun music. Really cool ass shit. I mean, if you fuck with like Gaba or anything like Chaos UK or anything, dude, this is always been like in some regard, a mainstay on any kind of DJ set I do when people ask me to guest. So, yeah, it's a fucking fun ass record, dude. Check it out. It's one of the only fucking picture discs that I own, but this is the only vinyl version that you get. It was pressed in 2005. I'm pretty sure I got it at Chaos and Chaos too.
Isn't that on Destroy Records or TARDIS Records?
This one's on TARDIS Records.
Yeah, that's Staff.
So it's only like
Screamer, the band Screamer, Staff.
Oh, no shit.
That's his label, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you like exactly who TARDIS Records was, but
yeah, it's Staff from Destroy Fanzine and the band Screamer. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So yeah, it's limited to 500 copies. Like I said, I got it during the Chaos and Chaos. You know, it was worth the gamble. It's getting kind of pricey as far as like record prices go for resellers and all that stupid bullshit. Here's the back cover of it too. So it's got like all the GABA artwork on it. But like, yeah, dude, if I can do yourself a favor, if you want to fucking party, listen to this fucking record. It's completely unhinged. It's great, dude. Like every best part is computer and Chaos UK and like very sample driven, like UK punk. It's just a fun record. Check it out.
Nice.
Yeah, I really
sounds like one
that
that people should definitely Google on their work computer.
There's a lot of those. Right? There's a lot of those.
I really like that Lotions computer split. So that's maybe I'll have to go back and check this thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Steve. What's your last pick?
Right. Well, anyone who's seen me on your show before knows that I usually like to include a kind of like sleeper synthwave pick, and this time's gonna be no different.
Yes, I was waiting for it. Yes, nice.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could really call this band a sleeper hit though, because the band's actually pretty well known. And I'm just feeling a little tight now. That's right. I'm here to talk about Portishead.
Wow,
not their most well-known record. I want to talk about their third record, which is actually called Third. And if anyone who's familiar with Portishead, they got pretty big back in the '90s. They had a hit called Sour Times. Nobody loves me. It's all the karaoke you're gonna get from me tonight. But yeah, they did that record, and then they did another record in the '90s, and they did this live record that was like all their early trip hop stuff with like a string section, and then they took like 10 years off as a band. They came back and they did this, and it's like just a complete evolution of their sound. It's like they kind of left the trip hop stuff behind a little bit. Like there's no like record scratching on this LP like there was on their earlier stuff, but like there's still like that electronica sound, like a lot of like really interesting kind of experimental synth stuff going on here. But then also like there's a lot of live instrumentation too. I was reading about how like the band like all kind of switched instruments. Like the drummer was playing bass, the bass player was playing drums. Like Beth Gibbons, the singer, she like plays guitar in one of the songs. And because of that, like some of these songs almost get kind of like a krautrock kind of vibe to it. Like parts of it like remind me of Can, like where it just like really starts to like pick up and like get into like this groove that they lock into. So like I think out of their 3 LPs, this actually might be my favorite one by them now. It's definitely the one I listen to the most, and I've been listening to it a ton lately. So I was like, this would be a great one to bring on the show if people aren't familiar with it yet. And it's kind of cool because like Beth Gibbons' voice is the mainstay. If you're familiar with her, she's got this really like distinctive, powerful, almost kind of like mournful voice. Like just every like syllable and word is just like enunciated in this way that just has so much emotion in it. And one thing I love her, whether it's on like a Portishead record or like like she's done like live symphony records. She was on like a Kendrick Lamar record. I mean, anything she does, I love. And on this record, it's like, All Mine, another great song by them, absolutely. One thing I really like about this record too is that like it's got that like kind of more subdued, moody kind of sound that like a lot of their earlier stuff. But then there's like other songs where like the beats behind it are almost like aggressive. Like the opening track, Silence, like almost sounds like the drum kit's like about to like jump out of the record grooves. It's like just the break beats are hitting so hard. And there's another song on this called Machine Gun. And like I've heard people be like, "Oh, is this the record where they kind of jumped the shark?" But like, no, I think it's great. Like, and Machine Gun, it's got this like staccato, like just like pulsing beat that almost sounds like it'd be on like a Godflesh record, but it's on a Portishead record. So, highly recommended. Beautiful record. Beth did a solo. Actually, I have that right here too. I was going to give that out.
Yeah.
Beth Gibbons did just put out a great new solo record that came out last year. It was like co-written by the drummer from Talk Talk. He's like all over it too, which I was surprised to see. But yeah, another little classic synthwave pump there. But yeah, this is my final pick tonight. I've got the shirt, I've got the record, great stuff. Can't get enough of it. And it's like one of those records where it's like kind of a journey too. Like I know a lot of people, like when they first heard it, it wasn't what they expected based on the earlier material and they weren't sure about it. But it's like the more you listen to it, the more it's just like all these layers come out. It's just a really rich, like just intricate record. A lot of good stuff here. So highly recommended. Check it out.
That's a great pick. And unexpected tie-in with Dan's previous pick.
Oh yeah, right.
Portishead is an area just outside of Bristol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That I think recently people have really kind of come around to that one, and like it's kind of been held in a higher regard, like recently.
I think like, the more time people have spent with it, it's like very like critically acclaimed now. People are like, oh wow, like they really like. There's no record that really sounds like this record. Like I can't think of anything else to like compare it directly to. It's just they're really doing their own thing, and I hope maybe in like another 10 years, maybe they'll come back and put out another record. Because this one came out in 2008, so yeah, we've already missed the 10-year mark. Maybe the 20-year mark. They'll drop.
They're due.
For us. Yeah, they're definitely due. And like that Beth Gibbons solo record, I mean, it's great too, but it's like definitely like a lot more on the subdued side, like a lot of like guitar-y kind of stuff. Like this one has got like, just some really great like some like hard electronica stuff that I really like. Like some that was like almost like throbbing like underworld style beats, but then like her delicate voice on top. Yeah, just really interesting, cool stuff.
Nice.
Definitely check it out.
Cool.
Would you say that's like kind of like got a little bit of that like kind of darker trip hop sound like Sneaker Pimps or something like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the earlier stuff's like very good like rainy day music, and like this one has a lot of that too. But then also you just get like those really driving tunes like Machine Gun, where it's just like your speakers feel like they're about to rattle off the table. And I was also reading like they were really influenced by like John Carpenter movie soundtrack stuff on the record too, which you can definitely hear kind of like lurking around in the background as well. So this has got a lot of interesting ingredients going on in this record. I can see why it took them 10 years to kind of come up with it. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right.
I go to Lou real quick.
Last pick of the day. What's it going to be?
Dan's got to go puke off camera.
I'm opting to pull my synth record last today too.
Nice.
So, I'm going way the other way on it though. I'm going super minimal, one guy, kind of Casio keyboardy synth stuff. This is a dude who has a couple of projects under his name. He goes by Netherworld Nate. He's a project called Scimitar, but he's also another project called Book of Skelos.
Ooh.
So, in the dungeon synth world.
I was going to say, it looks like a dungeon synth record for sure.
Totally a dungeon synth record. And in this whole world, like, there's a lot of digital only stuff. There's a lot of cassette only stuff.
Yeah.
So this is actually a collection of 3 EPs put together on one 12-inch.
Oh, nice.
So what this is kind of a real throwback to old, like PC dungeon crawler RPG games.
Close to my heart.
Just one man Casio synth soundtrack to some old PC dungeon crawler. It's really atmospheric and really, really cool. He's got multiple layers of synth in there. But it's really, really neat. And I really dig this stuff. I mean, you guys know that I like soundtracks and scores and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this has definitely come up on our past shows together. Yeah, we definitely agree on that. So.
Yeah, but this is kind of the other side of that. Yeah. This modern dungeon synth, synth wave kind of stuff. I really dig this, and I've got some of his other stuff. Like I've got the Scimitar EP that came out on. There's some tapes and stuff, but only one EP ever got vinyl release. And again, really cool, dungeon synth. This kind of stuff, I really dig it. I kind of discovered this scene a handful of years ago, and it totally works for me.
Love it. I've never even heard it, but I just love it. I just love the aesthetic.
Yeah, very cool.
Is it like the was it chip bit or bit chip? Fucking,
Right. Yeah. Chip
bit
tune.
done for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Similar
chip
to
tune.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love
Old
that, dude, because it
Nintendo music.
reminds me of like old like PC fucking dungeons.
Well,
And
that's
like,
exactly what this is. It's like the soundtrack to some PC dungeon crawler from your old
Yeah.
386.
Yeah, fucking love that.
Nice.
And now we have it. You know what? I was just thinking as you did that last pick, man, I was thinking, man, there's four of us, 4 punks. We covered a lot of ground, like musically.
Yeah, we touched on a lot of genres tonight. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not, saying we're the most eclectic guys, in the world, but like we went some places, Yeah. We went. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. That's why I love being on the show with you, man. You do a good thing, Mike. You bring people together. That's special.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to that for sure.
Yeah.
ZZ Top to the Seats of Piss to fucking we cover a lot of ground. It's cool.
From Pissgrave to Portishead. And
There's
the
the
Pink
new
Floyd for the parents.
catchphrase. There's the new catchphrase. All right, let's wrap this up. We're probably going to chat a little bit about other stuff after the cameras stop rolling. We're back on Friday next week. I know it was confusing being on a Saturday this week, but back on Friday next week. Another kind of old school episode. Brian from Drop Dead's back. He hasn't been on for a while.
Nice.
And Devon Cahill, ex Drop Dead, is on with him, and Nate Wilson.
Nice.
It's going to be old school next week.
3 guys who definitely know their music. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as eclectic. I don't think it's going to be as eclectic as this week. But
yeah, we've set the bar high.
We're a tough act to follow. Good luck to those guys next week. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in on a Saturday night, a regular time. Appreciate it. Everyone have enjoy the rest of the weekend. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy life, in spite of all the shit that's going on around us in the world. That's not the catchphrase. The catchphrase is stay healthy and stay clean. I've been told that it always gets cut off, so I didn't press the stop button. So everybody, you heard it this time, right? Stay healthy and stay clean.